Yeah, it's that 12-step program. Hey, for real, let's check it out. Listen to the steps and watch me out. Follow carefully. Here we go. 1, 2, what you gonna do? 3, 4, price is at the door. 5, 6, don't get caught in the mix. 7, 8, repent before it's too late. 9, 10, strive to reach the heavens. 11, 12, learn how to do for self. And let's go, y'all. Now let's roll, y'all. Now let's go, y'all. Now let's roll, y'all. Yo, lot of words gotta be told. The truth unfolds. We breaking the mold and ready to roll. Unveil the scrolls and meet the heathens at the crossroads. Cause they as good as gone. I'm like a king, they like a pawn. My sword's strong, thirsting for blood. Stomping through the mud, my mind's been free since I gave up bud. Staying clean like suds, and you should too. Had to go to war with this high witch into voodoo. I cut her, told her she was a Hebrew, and pricked her like a needle. She got popped like a weasel, my words are lethal. I'm invisible, and you see through. So don't step to my people, so they'll be looking for you like a sequel. Any test I don't pass, I breeze through. Let's keep it righteous, yeah, y'all. You know how we do. I'm gonna bounce and trounce all calm, rock and launch the truth to the roof. All we do is aim and shoot. Kabloom, bloom. Into the room, staggering, my words are hazardous. And I rose from the dead like Lazarus. This is something I had to get off my chest. Cardiac arrest for those that test the Lord's best. Cause the war between the spirit and the flesh. Ask me about the world. I could care less. I'm telling you, dude, the work is fake like silicone boots. We use the Bible as a tool, show them the rules. Fix a nation that's broke, don't provoke and get smoked like dope. I'd rather put my hope in the Most High than crow. Watch my brain with the truth, let it soak. About to bounce to sin like I caught a chick and just elope. Yeah, 12 steps to South Central. 12 steps for Watts and Compton. Yeah, 12 steps for East LA. Yeah, 12 steps for Pacoima. Come on now. 12 steps for Panorama.
The water shalak. Good Lord. Let me get myself in motion right here. Let me start that over with. All right. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh Shai. Again, giving all praise and honor and glory to the Most High in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Shalom, peace, welcome. Everybody and anybody that's on deck, whether you're watching live or you catching up, shalom to you. Let me salute the families in the house. Bayan, the house of Bayan in the house. Shalom, shalom. Karatazan in the house. Shalom, Kohath. Shalom, Hashemai, Ashar, Jason, Uziel, Malachi, you brothers up there in the northwest. Shalom, Shalak. Shalom, shalom. Sister Deborah in the house. Shalom. Who else am I missing? If I'm missing anybody, Sister Catherine popping in. Shalom. All right, all praises. The water for letting me know that my mic was muted and get me on point. Right. Sometimes your brother needs a little help, you know what I mean? And I appreciate the support. Prayerfully, everybody's doing well, man. As we know, we're in hectic times right now. And as you see the title of the lesson, if you're not watching, it may be too late. Again, if you are not watching, if you're not paying attention, if you're not in tune with the spirit, if you're not observing and seeing what's going on around you, around your family, around the world, it might be too late for you. It just might be too late. You might miss that boat. You might miss that opportunity. You understand what I'm saying? This is not a time that we should be lollygagging or taking for granted, the time that we've been allotted for grace, mercy, repentance, and for us to get our acts together in the spirit and power of Mashiach Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Yahweh. Let me get some things situated real quick, and let me start off with a scripture. I'm coming in all right, everybody? I hear everybody saying you got sevens. You can hear me now. Here we go. All right. All praises. Good deal. Let's start off in Sirach, the 5th chapter. And we're going to start at 1. We're going to read down. All right. So again, if you're not watching, it might be too late for you. It might be too late. Why do I say that? Look at this. Sirach 5:1 says, "Set not thy heart upon thy goods, and say, I have enough for my life." So, the scriptures is acknowledged to us in the forms of wisdom, that we don't put all our trust in our goods or what have you, but we never deal with complacency or never deal with not abounding, not growing, not always seeking to do and be better, right? So the Most High never is settled with mediocre. When we're seeing it here, he says, never said I have enough, never deal with complacency. Okay. You should always be trying to add on, get better, grow. You understand? So continuing on, it says, "Follow not thine own mind and thy strength to walk in the ways of thy heart." Yes, because we know what Jeremiah 17:9 says, "The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it?" When we trust within ourselves and we say, I know enough, I got it, I figured it out, it was because of me, I did, you're already out of pocket. You've removed the power of the Most High out of your life, and now you become a God within yourself, and you say, I'm the one who's in control of everything. I made that happen. When that comes into play, the Most High says, surely that pride will be avenged. Humble down. Humble down. The meek shall inherit the earth, not the proud, not the boastful, not the one who wants to be exalted, not the one who wants the preeminence, not the one who wants to be at the forefront, wants to always be in the camera, the spotlight, always wants to be in the selfies. That's not who the Most High is acknowledging. That's not who he's going to exalt when it's all said and done. Scriptures even tell us in Peter, it says, humble thyself and the Most High will exalt you in due season. So we can't move in the spirit of pride, not in this time, not right now. Trust and believe. Everything that we're seeing and we're going through and we're witnessing that's happening in the world right now, the Most High is going to put his children and the world in a place of sufferings to where you have no choice but to look up. You'll be brought so low. All of us are going to experience some form of lowliness and meekness to where we get broken, to where we have to count on the Most High and put more faith into Yahweh. There's no other options. Stop looking for stimulus. Stop looking for, Agent Orange and his administration and the tariffs to turn it around and make good old America great again and affordable again. Hey, look, if that's where your faith is, and I'm not talking to anybody that doesn't know any better. I'm talking to those who like to peek in, who like to, get a little bit of here, there, and some of us, even within the chat and watching, may need a little bit of a reminder that this is not our rest, according to Micah 2 and the 10th verse. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And if we're not paying attention, you're not watching, it may be too late. So, continuing on, verse 4 says, "Say not, I have sinned, and what harm hath happened unto me? For the Lord is long suffering; he will in no wise let thee go." See, you hear about federal cases, the P. Diddy's and indictments and RICOs and all this other stuff. A lot of stuff going on in Hollywood and the entertainment industries and all that other stuff with top brass and within the entertainment industries and on the streets getting taken down on RICOs and the feds coming after, notorious gangsters and all this other stuff, right? But hey, look, the Most High is the top fed. You wonder why the feds have a 98% conviction rate? Is because they build a case to where you have no defense. They'll give you a long string to commit all manners of criminality. And then when you double back and you say, well, let me hire a lawyer, Bernstein and Brownsville, they're going to get me off. No, they're not. Because you're on wiretaps. They've got your fingerprints on money. Got you on video. They've got snitches. It's all lined up. And when they present all the stuff and they say, well, how do you plead? You see, are you still going to lie and say that's not you on camera? That's not your voice on the wiretap? Oh, you sure you didn't meet our 2 informants? We gave them the money to give to you. This is tracked money. We've already got the bills marked and up. Are you still going to plead guilty? I mean, not guilty? We'll offer you a deal. And that's when everybody cops please and says, all right, you got me. Notice what the Lord said. He said, say not I have sinned, and what harm have happened unto me. So a lot of times we get away with our sins, and we think we getting away with it, but let's put it that way. You think you're getting away with the iniquities and the sins and unrighteousness that uh, we've been prone to commit through our flesh or whatnot. And then you have some of our people who are just completely unrepentant. They don't even want to hear the truth. They don't even want to hear anything about repent, change my life. What? Pray to the Lord for who? I'm cool. Bible, that's man wrote that. I ain't got no. You got your thing. I got my thing. Da, da, da. I just had another conversation conversation with my sister like a week ago. Same. So you got your thing. I got my thing. I don't disrespect your stuff, and I don't listen. Okay. And it wasn't even really contentious. She just wanted to make sure that before the wheels get to turning in the conversation, don't even start. And that's Israel for you. Because what did they say? Hey, look, I'm out here still living. I got a good job. I got a car. I'm doing this, that, and the third. Hey, the Lord's blessing me. You talking about sin, and who else caters to that mind state? The churches. The churches are forever telling you that the laws are done away with. The laws is impossible to keep. You only got to keep the two greatest commandments. They're trying to give you an easy road to say that you're going to get to the kingdom this way. Doesn't work that way. Everyone, all of us are held accountable in some form or fashion according to the judgments that the Most High lays out. So we can't have a mindset of saying, oh, hey, I've sinned and what harm happened to me? You keep talking about, oh, I'm gonna die if I do this. I'm gonna die. And ain't nothing happened to me. I'm good. Grandmama says, I've been eating pork and smoking cigarettes for 50 years. Boy, don't tell me nothing about my temple. I go to church every Sunday, front row. My wig is intact. I got my big hat on. The Lord hears me, knows that I'm dedicated. No evils happen to me. What are you talking about? What did the Lord say? Hey, I'm long suffering. He will in no wise let thee go. Nobody gets off. Nobody. So the Lord said, okay, go ahead. I'm just building a case. I'm building a case. You can go ahead on. Go continue sin, commit iniquity, be rejectful, be rebellious. Continue to commit all manners of abomination. And the Lord said, go ahead. I'm not letting you go. You think you are, but no. Verse 5, concerning propitiation. Propitiation is a form of repentance. Be not fearful, Shalaki, be not without fear to add sin to sin. So, the Lord said, don't be bold, don't be proud, and don't run out there and act like, hey, well, I got away with this, I'm going to get away with that, I done committed fornication, I might as well go all the way with adultery, I'm smoking this, I'm doing that. No. The Lord said, we can't move without fear to be adding on to our case file. You understand? Verse 6. And say not his mercy is great. He will be pacified for the multitude of my sins. For mercy and wrath come from him, and his indignation resteth upon sinners. Doesn't the church say God hates the sin but loves the sinner? Don't tell me I'm the only one that heard that. And I wasn't no devout churchgoer. Definitely had my times in church when I was in my teens, off and on. But for my stints in there, I've heard them sayings. I'm sure that y'all have heard them coming up in the church. God loves the sinner but hates the sin. What? The Lord said his indignation resteth upon sinners. His righteous anger is resting upon those that rebel and go against his commandments and commit to sin. And we can't say, oh, his mercy is great. He's going to always love me, have mercy, even for my multitude of sins. No, the job is and the objective is for us to get better, to work off our salvation. The scriptures say that he that converted the sinner from the error of his ways covereth a multitude of sins. We're all in debt. You understand? We're all in debt, and we're all trying to work off our credit with the Most High, not add to it, not get further in debt, but to somehow get relief of that debt. How do we do that? Number one, by being examples to the flock for not only ourselves, for our families, but those that are around us. We represent the Most High all day long in your day to day, right? So you've got an objective to uphold yourself as a righteous man or woman of the Lord, to be an example, to say, hey, that's a good brother right there. That's a good sister right there. You know, they fear the Most High. They're Israelites. They move different. I got to see what that's about. Sharing information, sharing on the videos, sharing your teachings, doing what you can to try to get one person to change their ways. Matter of fact, let me get that in Thessalonians. Where we at? I'm sorry. I said Thessalonians. It's actually James 5:20. James 5:20. It says, let him know that he which converted the sinner from the error of his ways save a soul from death, and shall hide a multitude of sins. So if we're trying to figure out how we can get in the right side of the Most High, you know, that case file that is being built up by the ultimate Fed chief, Yahweh, when you want to see some of them things disappear and get dropped in the shredder, get lost in the files, you know, we got to work on saving souls, converting sinners, getting somebody to stop a sin. If you can get somebody, they may not fully come into the truth, they may not fully buy in, but if you can get somebody to stop eating pork, you've converted a sinner from the error of his way. If you can get somebody to, you know, start keeping the Sabbath, that's a portion of converting a sinner from the error of his way. Doesn't mean they may fully buy in and they may say, hey, you know, I need to learn more about my heritage as an Israelite and I'm coming all the way in. They may not do that. But guess what? You got a little bit of credit because you got them on the path of repentance. Think about that. Think about that, right? So now going back to Sirach 5, we can't get in that Christian mind state and thinking, oh, God is all love. He's all mercy. He loves the sinner. You understand what I'm saying? And then say, oh, his mercy is great. He'll be pacified from a multitude of sins. Most I said, don't tell me what I'm going to be okay with. Don't tell me what I'm going to be merciful and pacified with and wink at and turn a blind eye to. He said, no, mercy and wrath come from him, right? The Most I said, he'll have mercy on whom will have mercy. But also know that there's one thing for sure, two things for certain. He said, indignation is always going to come to the sinner. Verse 7, make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day. That's why I said, if you're not paying attention, it might be too late. You can't say, yeah, I'll get it right. Yeah, give me some time. I'll figure it out. Yeah, I'm trying to kick this, or give me, I'm gonna be there. The Lord said we can't put off from day to day. You can't make the Lord wait. He's not waiting for nobody. Remember, he was about to destroy our whole nation and told Moses, I'll make a whole nother nation with you. I can turn these rocks into a whole nother nation. Like, what? I don't need them. And Moses had to plead to the Most High to remember the covenant that he made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And the Most High said, yeah, you know what? You're right, Moses, but guess what? Somebody got to die. Like Al-Dad get a lesson about the requirements for blood, regarding repentance. The Lord said, hey, that's true, but I'm not letting them off without some bloodshed. So thousands had to die. And remember, that whole generation that left out of Egypt, they was all gone. 3 and 4 generations gone. Their descendants, the kids, made it to the promised land. So the Most High don't play. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord and put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth, and in thy security thou shalt be destroyed and perish in the day of vengeance. So that's how the Lord moves. So with that being understood, we got to make sure that we're paying attention, we're watching, and we're abiding by the way that the Lord laid things down. Let me get this in Mark 13. And I want to read. Where was I at? Let's look at verse 23 first, right? Now, look at this. No, of course, we're reading everything previously. This is the same. This is Mark's account of what Matthew saw in Matthew 24, what Luke saw in Luke 21. All the things that were leading up to the end of the time, the second coming of Yahweh, so forth and so on. So you all know wars, rumors of wars. There's going to be seditions. There's going to be pestilence, plagues, earthquakes in diverse places. There's going to be false Christs arising. There's going to be uh, backstabbing amongst family members and your friends, so forth and so on. Now, notice here what he says in verse 23. But take ye heed, behold, I have foretold you all things. So the one thing that he did not tell us is when that day is going to be. He told us everything else. He said, I'm giving you everything that you need to know in order to be prepared. Everything you need to know and look for when these days arise. So there's not going to be no guesswork. There's not going to be no mysteries. I told you everything to expect and what's going to happen. I've told you all things. So that's again why, if you're not watching, it may be too late. If you're not paying attention, if you don't understand and seeing how things are moving prophetically, if you ain't paying, you're too busy caught up looking at the gossip blogs and scrolling up and down on Instagram, and you got, I forgot what they call it in the field of like medicine and chiropractic, but they say the people that work on computers, or now the people are always on their phones, they've made up some term about something with the neck. I think they call it tech neck, where a person's head or the alignment of their spines and their neck is always, out of whack and facing down because they're constantly looking down at either a computer screen or at a phone or at a tablet. Tech neck is what's going on now. Like if you're a victim of that, hey, unplug for a minute. It's one thing if that's what you do for your profession, you work, it is what it is. But even after work, even on your breaks, your lunches, I mean, you're locked in. If those things are becoming a distraction, look, we're not looking for the right things unless you're using those tools in order to see and understand furthermore what's going on in the earth. So there's a balance, right? But Yahweh Shah said, I told you everything that you need to look for. Everything is going to happen. You ain't got to guess, right? Drop it down to verse 33. He gave us wisdom too. Take ye heed, watch and pray. Hello, watch and pray, for you know not when the time is. He said, I told you everything. However, I know how slick you Negroes and Hispanics be. I know how you think I'm going to just give everything to you on a silver platter. I know how you love to worship me with your mouth, but your heart is far from me. I'm not giving you everything. Because in typical Israelite fashion, a descendant of Jacob, Jacob's name who was changed to Israel, Jacob initially Yaquab, meaning supplanter, that's somebody who you get a little slick, right? That's in all of them. That's in all of Israel. Let me see if I can get that up real quick. Where is it at? Hebrew. So here you see here Jacob, Yaquab, a heel holder or a supplanter. Now, what is a supplanter? Let's see what supplant means. Look at this. To usurp the place of, especially through intrigue or underhanded tactics. Underhanded tactics. Let's look at synonyms for supplanting. Let's see what they say in there. Oh, to undermine. Let's see. A lot are just replacements, which is good. But in order to supplant, one of the things, because they always related to, Jacob supplanted Esau for his blessing, so he had to trick him with the the furry garments that Rebecca gave. But remember, that was a prophecy that the Most High foretold to Rebecca what was going to happen and how it needed to happen, right? But that's how Yahweh Shai knows. These are a nation of supplanters, man. They'll get underhanded and think they're slick to try to overcome or to replace and get into a position without really earning it, without really doing what you got to do to receive the inheritances that's been blessed for us. So I'm not going to tell you. Yahweh Shai said, I don't even know. The angels don't even know. But I'm going to tell you everything you need to look for. So take ye heed, watch and pray, for you know not when the time is, right? One thing we do know, let's look at Romans real quick. 13, let's read 11. And we read Romans 13, 11. And at that time, and then that's like and that knowing the time, that now it is the high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. So again, here's another form to let us know, ain't watching, you ain't paying attention, and you're sleeping, your salvation might pass you up. You might not make it. You might not see it. Okay. Let's read Revelation. So we can't put off day to day. We can't, stick our heads in the ground like the ostrich and say, pick me up when everything's over. I don't want to see it. I don't want to deal with it. It stresses me out. I'm scared. Can't do all of that. You got to look things directly in the face and say, is this what I'm dealing with? Okay, well, how do I sustain? How do I get around? How do I make it in this thing? Because the keys have been given to us. It doesn't have to always be doom and gloom. It has to be, hey, I've been made aware, but what do I do about it? We've been shown what to do. Revelation 16:15 says, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth. Huh? Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. What garments? You got a special garment that you got hanging up in your closet? You waiting for, something to go down for that special occasion? What garment should we be keeping? Let's look at Ephesians. Even the Christians know this one. They love to quote it. Living it, maybe that might be a little bit of different thing. Israelites know this, but in living it is a whole other thing. Verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Here's the garments that we should have. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of the Most High, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth. What's the truth? What's the truth? The truth is keeping the law, right? And that's in the book of Psalms. That's in Psalms 119 and verse 142. Am I not spelling Psalms right? Girt about with the truth, right? Psalms 119, verse 142. Let's get that real quick. See that? Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. So this is what we're girding ourselves up with. This is what we're supposed to be clothing ourselves with, the righteousness and the law of the Most High. Standing on that. Stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness. Righteousness also is Christ is our righteousness, and also according to the book of Deuteronomy 6 and 25, I believe, it tells us that the law is our righteousness. So constantly we're being bombarded and saying the main thing that we got to stand on that's going to hold us up is the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Continuing on, it says, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. So it says, above all, taking the shield of faith. Well, of course, because guess what? If we don't have these particular elements, you can forget about it. Revelations 14:12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of our side. That's in the book of Revelation. So we've got to be girded with righteousness, truth, faith, right? These are all things that we have to be, prepared for. Verse 17, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all the perseverance and supplication for all saints. And we know, according to the scriptures in Psalms 50 and 5 and Psalms 148 and 14, the saints have been defined as the Israelites and the children of Israel. Okay. Let me get another one in Ecclesiastes. Back up. Ecclesiastes. Let's look at chapter 8. If I'm making sense to y'all, man, throw 7 in the chat for me. If I'm making sense, throw 7 in the chat for me. Now we're going to continue on. So notice this, right? You said, well, what are we supposed to do? The answers has already been given to us. We know evil is coming down the pipeline. We know it's going to get bad and it's going to get worse. And I'm talking about not even, we're talking in the immediate future. We're going to see, y'all know, and you've been watching just like I have. But if you haven't, there's some things I'm going to share with you today through our normal DSTN building moment. But this is what we're going to see. Ecclesiastes 8 and verse 5, it says, whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing. That is what we have to have faith in. Isaiah 65 tells us that, in the days of affliction, his servants are going to eat, his servants are going to drink, right? But the thing is that if you're not putting yourself in a position of servitude, you can't count yourself in that number. You can't say, I'm going to get it. I'm guaranteed. No, because it was qualified first with what it's going to take. Where is that at? Isaiah 65. Here we go. Verse 13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart and howl for vexation of spirit. So you can see the dynamic between those who abide by and stay in obedience with the Most High and with the scriptures, and those who don't. So when things get rough, things get tough, remember the Most High said, my servants, they'll be okay. They're going to eat. We're going to make sure, the Most High is going to make sure that he takes care of us. However, you got to remember, faith without works is dead. You can't just sit back in your room and in your house and in the closet and whatever the case may be, and you say, you know what, I'm just waiting for that manna that drops from heaven. I'm waiting for the quails to run around in the streets of the ghetto so I can go grab me a few and I'll be good. This is not that Exodus. We're not in the wilderness of Sinai. There's other methods and ways that we can also prepare. We was talking about it earlier. Here at MOTC, we had a meeting. We were just talking about, the things that's coming down the pipeline, preparations and things of that nature, right? So that, obviously there's a balance of things. You can have your preparations in order, your rations and whatever the case may be, but also still remembering that fasting is also part of our sufferings and part of our training as well. That's why the Most High gives us a day of atonement. For anybody that's not accustomed to fasting and you ain't do it, you never did it, the Lord makes sure that one day, at least one day out of the year, you're going to afflict your soul and you're going to know what it's like to deny the flesh for a day. To make sure that flesh and that demon that's on us that always says, feed me, I want, to tell it no and allow the spirit to grab the wheel and sustain you throughout the day. It's a great principle to have and to know, because you never know. We may get put in positions to where you aren't going to eat for a day or two. And if you aren't accustomed to it or you're not mentally prepared to go through that, you're going to be belly aching and begging Master to give you anything to eat. And then say, well, my faith, the Most High knows I'm just going to eat this bologna sandwich because he knows my faith. He knows my heart. He wouldn't want me to die. I'll be okay eating this. What? Do you remember the account of uh, what's the brother in Second Maccabees 6? Uh, it was right on the tip of my tongue. Eleazar, where they tried to seduce him and had him said, "Look, we're going to give you a clean meat to eat, but we're going to tell the people that's an abomination. We just need you to lead them down the path of wickedness and unrighteousness. We need you to be the Judas goat. Lead them into the slaughter. You'll be fine. We're not going to make you break the law." Even in that situation, he told them, "Go to hell. I'd rather die." So don't think you can be back. Oh, if I get put in that position, most I knows I eat. Islam gives you a pass to eat swine and abominations. If I think they call it like the law of necessity or something like that. I forgot where it's at in the surah. But they tell you it's okay to eat abominable meats like pork. If you got nothing else, if you got to, you can do it. It's permissible, but only in matters of desperation. The Most High ain't never give us that pass, right? But if we're doing what we're supposed to, if we're being servants unto Him, we ain't got it. We're not gonna have to compromise. We're gonna have things in order that we can be sustained. And if not you, maybe your neighbor or somebody else who's making proper preparations, doing what's necessary. Because the well's gonna run dry here in America. This not gonna be the land of milk and honey like they've been accustomed to for the last 250 years. Damn near 250 years. That's not happening. All right. So the Lord said, in those days we'll be okay because we're doing what? Getting back to Ecclesiastes 8:5. Whoso keepeth the commandments shall feel no evil thing. Qualified. You got to do this first. Keep them commandments in order to not feel the evil thing. And a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. You understand? The wise man's heart is going to do that. Discerns time and judgment. That's why you have to be paying attention. You got to lock in. Got to lock in. If you don't think this type of information and what we're talking about is important, then you're missing the mark. You say, hey, I don't care about all that. Most High got me my faith, and hey, all praises. That's good. Lord be with you. But again, faith without works is dead. We have to have actions behind our faith. We have to be proven by the Most High's scales of growth. And these are the things that we have to concentrate on and understand. Look, if Joseph wasn't foretold via dreams what was going to befall Egypt regarding the famine that was happening, do you think he would have just been out there just like, hey, the Lord's got me. I'm over here sitting second next to Pharaoh. It's all good. I ain't got to worry about nothing. No, he took action. He said, look, these 7 years while I got time, let me go ahead on and make sure that we're set up for success. Because 7 years down the line, we're coming with 7 years of famine. It's going to be hell on earth. And guess what? Because he exercised that faith, he believed in the visions and the dreams that the Most High helped him to discern, both time and judgment. He helped excel the kingdom of Egypt and help excel himself as a discerned, wise ruler that Pharaoh had to take a back seat to. He said, I'm only Pharaoh by throne alone. Like, you really running the show. That's because he put his tools to work, right? Scriptures tell us wisdom and knowledge to be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. You got to have wisdom and knowledge in order to have stability during these times, because best believe it's going to be rocky. It's going to be rocky. Okay. So with that being understood, let me give one more of my favorite scriptures when it comes down to seeing what's going on. Proverbs 21:12 says, the righteous man wisely, you notice we keep seeing that word wisely. You, wisdom, listen, the scriptures even tell us that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. You cannot accumulate enough wisdom until you fear the Most High. The Most High is going to help guide you, and your wisdom is either going to come through your own experiences, it's going to come through your falls, it's going to come through your successes. The Most High is going to utilize you and move you as a tool so that you can gain and garner wisdom to learn how to move better in this truth and in this world, right? The righteous man wisely considereth the house of the wicked. So he's going to be a little nosy. He's going to figure out what's going on in this house, man. What is our enemy up to? The house of the wicked is contemplating on the daily. We know what Micah 2 says that he he goes to bed thinking about wickedness. He rises up early and he practices it. So he's constantly thinking, why shouldn't we be thinking? Like, what is going on? What's he up to? What's he doing now? Oh, watch out. There's this coming down the pipeline. Right? He's going to consider the house of the wicked, but the Most High overthrow the wicked for their wickedness. So we know that judgment is going to be of the Most High. He's going to always overthrow the wicked for the wickedness. He said he's angry at the wicked every day. So the judgment isn't for us to discern. However, it's to understand and know that judgment is coming, be it for the righteous or for the wicked. All right. So let's look at a few articles and a couple of videos, and we're going to get to it, right? So, as we know, the wars and rumors of wars and drums is beating heavy right now. Heavy. We know the peace talks going on between Ukraine and Russia. That's pretty much a thing of the past. America laid out their ultimatums, saying, "Look, if we can't get a peace deal done soon, we're going to wash our hands of this." There was another Edomite woman. I forgot her position within the White House. She kind of doubled back and was like, "Oh, well, yeah, we said, well, that wasn't what we meant. We meant that we're not going to give up on a peace talk, but we're going to take a different role." And she, Esau with the forked tongue. She tried to like weasel her way out of it and slither out. No, you said what you said. Trump said it and Rubio said it. Because the press was like, "Are you saying you're going to walk away? You're going to leave this conflict?" She's like, "Oh, that was misunderstood. That isn't what we were saying. We're saying we will take a different position in the negotiation." Well, what position is that? You're the leader of the quote unquote free world. Everyone relies on America's input and muscle for all manners of diplomacy throughout the earth. And you saying you're going to take a back seat to who? NATO? NATO's saying full steam ahead with World War III. So what is she talking about? I forgot the damn demon's name, but anyway, she tried to clean it up with her forked tongue, lying, stanky butt. But this is what they're doing. They're out here throwing misdirection, misinformation, disinformation, the whole nine, right? Because meanwhile, Russia is threatening NATO with nuclear strikes. This is coming from one of their security officials. This isn't coming from Putin per se. However, he's not putting a muzzle on any of his mouthpieces either. He's not telling them, "Hey, don't say that. What are you doing? Retract that." So he's giving them free reign to say what they want when it comes down to what's going on in their councils. So look, Russia could strike NATO members with nuclear weapons, a senior security official has said. Dmitry Medvedev, Russia's former prime minister and current deputy of its Security Council, said NATO's newest members, which include Sweden and Finland, could be struck with revenge strikes using nuclear weapons in the event of a conflict. Now, he says he's the current deputy of a Security Council. So if he's the deputy of security matters or defense matters or war matters, he's speaking with permission and with authority to say, if things go down the way that we're seeing and continue to go, Sweden and Finland could be amongst the early targets in this incoming war. The non-aligned status gave them, Finland and Sweden, certain international perks given the geopolitical position and many other factors, Medvedev said. And now they are part of the bloc hostile to us, which means they automatically become a target for our armed forces, including potential retaliatory strikes and even the nuclear component or preventative measures within the framework of a military doctrine. And speaking of that military doctrine, Putin doubled down on saying he's not ruling out utilizing nuclear weapons based upon their military doctrine that they have. If they feel a threat coming from NATO or any of the particular allied nations, they have the right to go for a nuclear option immediately, as opposed to fighting a conventional war. So he just said that a couple of weeks ago. So you see here, this is at the schools. Remember, I covered the article last year. They were talking about this is part of the curriculum now. Nuclear preparedness. Um, some of the what was it? Can't remember if it was Russia. It was either Russia or one of these other European nations. They're teaching gun training in the schools now for the kids. They're getting them ready. The little YNs over here is too busy smoking weed, popping pills, and shooting each other up in these streets. Not prepared for nothing at all, right? Sisters is out here running around here trying to see what Negro's willing to trick on them and buy them a bag or take them on a vacation or fly them in to, prostitute themselves. You know, it's bad out there, man. Our people, when you talk about our people being destroyed for lack of knowledge, that is an understatement. Understatement. Let's continue. Russia sends a horror World War III threat to UK. British blood must be spilled. Uh-oh. Now, mind you, this is coming from media outlets and things that Putin is saying. Go ahead, you can say these things. So again, if it's not coming from the head, or if he's not sanctioning it, then he's got every opportunity to say, "Hey, shut that down. What are you doing? You're making things worse. I don't want this. Let's back up." But he can't say that. Why? Because Ezekiel 38 tells us what? That the Most High is going to put hooks in his jaws and going to bring him into military conflict. So he can't outright say anything outside of go ahead, add fuel to the fire, do what you got to do. Look, the broadcast appeared to be an attempt to pin the recent killing of Major General Yaroslav Maskalik, 59, on the UK, a claim which is entirely unsupported by any evidence whatsoever. Vladimir Putin's propaganda machine has accused Britain of providing explosives used in a series of high-profile assassinations inside Russia and warned that British blood must be spilled in retaliation. So, yeah, I believe last week one of his generals got assassinated. It was a car bomb. And now they're looking to point blame. So they're saying, hey, was it the UK? We believe it was you. And if it is, payback is a MF, as they say. So let's see. It says the extraordinary claim was made on state-controlled Russian television. So state-controlled, this is a governmental arm of the voice of Russia. So again, he got every means to say, don't say that. I didn't say that. Shut that station down. No, this is a tool being used to send messages, right? So it says that says the extraordinary claim was made on state-controlled Russian television, where Kremlin mouthpieces directly blame UK security services for the deaths of several senior military figures, including 2 generals. All right, so that's on the table. That's a rumor, as they say, wars and rumors of wars. Yahweh said that this is something that we have to be keen for and pay attention to. Nothing to be unturned. The scriptures say, be not ignorant of any matter, small and great. So we take it and document it, notate it, and see where does it lead to? Truth, or is it just rumors? But we still note it. Continuing, Ukraine says it's poised to sign a key mineral resources deal with the U.S. on Wednesday. So you remember a few months back that the U.S. was like, look, we'll provide you defense, military defense and all of that, if you sign over $500 billion worth of key minerals that we could use. And Ukraine was thinking about it. Then Zelensky came to the White House to meet, and they was going to talk about it. Him and Trump got into it. Remember all that? Now, guess what? Deal's done, because Ukraine is on the verge of getting slaughtered, and they need the backup. And that lets you know that America is still a warmongering nation. They could care about the bottom line. Trump talking about thousands of people are dying every day. We need to stop this. We need to stop. We need to come to a peace agreement. Meanwhile, he's done nothing to stop that. He said in 24 hours after he got sworn in January that he was going to end it all. That didn't happen. He's ran around here talking crazy about how much great relationships he's got with Putin and all. He can't get nobody to listen to him. What does he do? He said, well, the effort then. Get the mineral deal going, get this 500 billion in motion, and we'll keep the war cracking, which is all prophesied because this is the matter of which a time for war needs to be conducted based upon the scriptures. He's not going to come in here and stop no motion that's already moving. So he's acquiescing and saying, I can't stop it. I might as well get paid out the deal. And let's supply them military aid or continued military aid. So Ukraine said it's poised to sign that mineral deal. Ukraine is poised to sign a landmark mineral resources agreement with the United States in Washington on Wednesday, according to two senior Ukrainian officials who spoke on condition of anonymity because they weren't authorized to discuss the matter. That was before the deal. Now, look at this. Trump says Ukraine will be crushed very shortly without a peace deal. The peace deal didn't happen, but they know Ukraine was on their last leg. So what did they do? They came back to the table and said, hey, how about that mineral deal? We're almost about to get wiped out. Remember a few years ago when it was all pro-Ukraine, the Russians getting wiped out, there's hundreds of thousands dying daily, and this valiant David against Goliath battle going on, and Zelensky's he was on everything from MTV to late night TV shows and award shows and everything else. I mean, he was a celebrity running around with that green dirty sweatshirt on. Oh, he could do no wrong. People was running around standing with Ukraine and had their little flags out, and that's all dead now. Ain't nobody doing none of that. After the last year or so, everybody's like, why do we keep sending them money? We're broke over here. Why do we keep sending them money? I'm living in the tent. Why are we sending them money? I'm waiting for a stimulus. Why are we sending them money? Inflation. I don't care about Ukraine. Now people didn't care about Ukraine. The hype machine is over with. Remember, I said when it started, I was like, this is a wag the dog situation. If you don't know about Wag the Dog, go check the movie out. Because there's a lot of propaganda, a lot of lies that was going on. And they were setting up different. Remember the Ghost of Ukraine? They had the guy flying around like he was Top Gun, shooting down 6, 7 different, Russian planes and blowing up Snake Island. I mean, they would do all kind of foolishness as the new Top Gun movie was coming out. I mean, they was doing all kind of foolishness. The reality is this, what we see right here. Trump said that if there's no peace deal, Ukraine is going to be crushed very shortly. It's going to be over with. And what does that mean for NATO and the European nations? They're all saying, we're next. We can't use Ukraine as a proxy army anymore. They failed the mission. They were unable to disable or defeat Russia. So we've got to arm up and get ready. That's why we've been reading and hearing about all of the military preparations going on with NATO and its allied nations for the last few months or more that we've been covering here on DSTM. You're seeing why all the nations is gearing up, getting ready for war. Everybody from China to North Korea to you're just seeing there Sweden and Finland, Germany, France, the UK, all of them is getting armed up and ready to go. And because of this right here, when Trump went public and said, look, you're going to be destroyed if you don't come to peace. Well, they already know a peace deal was not possible. So what did they do? They said, well, is that mineral deal still on the table? Can we do that to extend this and get some more money? Clearly, they chose option B.
Those with Robinhood Gold can enjoy a 3% IRA match. Tremendous.
Ukraine signed a minerals deal proposed by the United States, strengthening the relationship between the countries as Ukraine struggles against Russia.
Now, you look at the expressions. You can see through the body language and the facial expressions. He's looking like, I'm paranoid. This is over with. I don't want to do this, but it is what it is. He's looking like, I knew it. I told you. Give me everything. Proud, boastful, wig all over the place. You know what I'm saying? And he's looking like he's about to get hit with no Vaseline.
The Trump administration has been pressuring Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky to sign a minerals deal and a peace deal while threatening to walk away from negotiations.
We're not going to continue to fly all over the world and do meeting after meeting after meeting if no progress is being made.
President Donald Trump has long complained about the price of aiding Ukraine in repelling the Russian invasion.
Because we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars, and they may make a deal, they may not make a deal, they may be Russian someday, or they may not be Russian someday, but we're going to have all this money in there, and I say I want it back.
The minerals deal is meant to be a form of compensation for U.S. support. With the deal, the Trump administration has...
You heard that? In exchange for U.S. support. So they just said, we're not going to be flying all around trying to stop this thing. You know what? If we can't stop it, we might as well profiteer off of it.
More incentive to protect Ukrainian interests in peace negotiations with Russia. Trump has been scrambling for minerals in his effort to boost U.S. production. It's a key win both for keeping campaign promises and progressing his trade war with China. China produces 90% of the world's rare earth minerals, leaving multiple countries dependent on their exports. With the Ukraine minerals deal, the U.S. gains another source of lithium and graphite, among other minerals key to the development of battery technology. China produces over 70% of the world's graphite and is the third largest producer of lithium, so it would be very difficult not to be somewhat dependent on Chinese production.
You notice here where it's telling that the greatest opposition that America is facing right now is China. So we know that even through the scriptures tell us that Asia, i.e. China, Moab, is going to try to make themselves like Babylon. All right, look at this. 2 Ezra 15, verse 46. And thou, Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person. So they're, China, they're sitting back and want to mimic, and they're a partaker of the hope of Babylon because they buy a lot of the bonds for America, the trades that they got going on with America. They China upholds America greatly through their business partnerships. They're a partaker of the hope of Babylon and are the glory of her person. So, because of China's involvement with the exalting of America, they get the glory of they're helping glorifying America. But guess what? Look at what it says here. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her. So now America now has a competitor, i.e. China. Now notice that's all you hear about with these tariffs now. All the other countries, you had like 154 countries that he laid tariffs on. The only one that everybody's concerned about is China right now. Why? Because China has now became a power to where they can rival America militarily, economically, so forth and so on. Even though America still runs the show, is still the great horse, so forth and so on, there's not going to be any changes for it. I mean, it's not going to be a real competitor because the Bible says that America is Babylon and the mother of harlots. There's not going to be another one. China ain't got next. They ain't going down. This is our last captivity, according to even the Lamentations, I believe the 4th chapter and the 22nd verse. It tells you after Esau is done, we're getting delivered. If you wait for anything else, you can forget about it. So continuing, it says, woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. So that's why you see China out here. Even China put it out there. They said anybody that's making, tariff deals with America, you're going to have problems with us. Because they got hit the worst. So they was like, we can make it hard for a lot of people. So here they are. They've got daughters in their whoredom. Even with Chinamen, they got no problem oppressing and, putting their people under strict bondage. and sufferings for the betterment of the quote unquote state and government. Remember how they was handling the C-19 situation? They was locking they be locking people in the doors, uh, soldering the doors closed so people can't open up the doors. They had the curfews and what did they do? They had the damn tanks at the banks. They were doing all kind of stuff, and that's their history throughout their rulerships. From Mao Zedong to all them cats, man, they got no problem oppressing their people, man. They got them under um, big brother surveillance. They're already under a digital economy. They're already following after the see something, say something to your neighbors. They're already limiting child production, reproduction, organ harvesting. I mean, the whole nine. They're committing all kind of manners of whoredoms and wickedness. And the Lord said they're going to get judged too. Look at this. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. So who do they follow? Who do they model themselves after? America uses them for all kind of experimentation and everything else, guinea pig their own people, and then sit back and send it back over this way. I'm not even going to speak about what went on with that plague. You know what I'm talking about. Since 2020, they named it after the number 19. You know what I'm talking about. All kind of information that came out regarding even more truth that then came out about that. The money came from over here. The inventions came from over here to fund them to do the research over there to let it rain hell on earth. But anyway, this is why they're so concerned with China and that whole rift is because they're following after the ways of America. They think they're going to be and want to be a powerhouse like America. But they're not going to be able to achieve that. They're going to go to war with America when it's all said and done. Right? Look at this. A massive explosion at Iranian port kills at least 18 and wounds 750. Let's look at this video. Fair use.
Iranian state media on Sunday said the death toll from a powerful explosion at the country's biggest port of Bandar Abbas had risen as firefighters worked to fully extinguish the blaze. Dozens of people are now counted among the dead and more than 1,200 are injured, state media reported. The initial moments of the explosion were captured in this CCTV footage. The blast shattered windows for miles around, tearing metal strips off shipping containers and badly damaging goods inside, state media said. Chemicals at the port were suspected to have fueled the explosion, but the exact cause was not clear. Iran's defense minister.
Now, notice I said the exact cause is not clear. Since this has happened, there's been reports that the GMO Jews have been suspected of having something to do with this. How is that even possible? Oh, well, look, Iran claims blast linked to shipment of chemicals used to make fuel for ballistic missiles coincides with U.S.-Iran nuclear talks. Same port hit by suspected Israeli cyber attack in 2020. So this is a port that has been targeted by the GMO Israelis in times past. Now they're still sorting out and looking through the weeds and blowing off the ash to figure out, can we, make a case to say that's what happened? But it's been alleged that they were behind this through some sort of sabotage, cyber attack, or what have you. This is a place where they were storing fuel for missiles and for warfare, and somehow this particular port ends up getting blown up in the midst of the GMO Jews wanting to declare war on Iran, wanting America to join in on war. They're not happy that the U.S. and Iran were coming together for peace talk, or not peace talks, but for nuclear talks. They want to go. They want to get busy, and here we see an explosion and blast that kills 18. Wound 750. Let's finish this.
Ministry denied international media reports that the blast may be linked to the mishandling of solid fuel used for missiles. Plumes of black smoke rose above the site on Sunday, and pieces of twisted metal and debris lay scattered across the blast site. By early afternoon, the head of Iran's Red Crescent Society told state media the fire was 90% extinguished. Negligence has often been blamed in a series of deadly incidents that have hit Iranian energy and industrial infrastructure in recent years. Iran has blamed some other incidents on Israel, which has carried out attacks on Iranian soil, targeting Iran's nuclear program in recent years, and last year bombed the country's air defenses.
So they're saying that Iran is negligent. They don't know what they're doing. And maybe that could actually add to the case for the GMO Jews to say, what would we be doing trusting them with nuclear power energy? Look, they can't even handle this. We can't give them power for, nuclear destruction and power and this, that, and the third. No. I mean, what better way to set them up to look more buffoonish that they can't even handle using, normal fuel and chemicals for ballistic missiles? What's going to happen if we give them nuclear power? Imagine this was a nuke. That whole area could be contaminated and destroyed in a wasteland. We can't trust them with that. You see how that works? They can just go ahead and line it up to make it look like this is all because of negligence, and we can't, trust them to have this particular technology. Let's take that off the table. See how they're playing them? I'm gonna move on from that for time's sake. We got a few more to roll with, but y'all can see another activity of explosions. Even over in Israel, they had massive fires and the arson situation go down over there. I mean, that's prophetic. The scriptures say that our cities are burned and being destroyed. I didn't include that on here, but if anybody's hasn't been hip to that, you can see here Israeli firefighters gain control of a blaze near Jerusalem. Look at this. Israel will find it harder to extinguish racist flames in forest fires. They always try to find a way to be victimized, right? Now the fire is racist. The fire is anti. I don't want to say the word because what word do we use? We flip that. Anti. I forgot what we came up with a little slang. Anybody remember what the slang was we came up with regarding the anti-S word? I can't recall. But anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? They even trying to flip that, man. But this is sea wildfires in Israel Pissosphere are largest ever in the country. Isn't that ironic, right? But the scriptures tell us that was going to happen. Isaiah the first chapter. Your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. Your land, strangers devoured in your presence, and it is desolate as overthrown by strangers. See what happens when the Lord's people is not there? Strangers is over there overthrowing it. It's being trodden underfoot by the Gentiles, according to Luke 21st chapter. And now here we see the cities are being burned with fire right before our eyes, and they're struggling to contain it because the fire is racist. Good Lord. Leave it to them. Let's continue. India and Pakistan. We talked about that last week. They had the terrorist attack. 26 people got shot up, put to death over there, and that's leading to a greater war that could be breaking out between these two nuclear powers, India, Pakistan. War fallout would spread far and wide. Why are they saying this? Because you also got to remember, this also could impact the trade routes because a lot of goods that we get is made in Pakistan, made in India. There's clothes. There's what others? I know for sure. Clothes, garments, things of that nature coming from India and Pakistan. What are they getting in the U.S.? United States imports from Pakistan: silk, tin, cotton, aluminum, copper, fertilizers. So imagine they go to war. That's just Pakistan, right? We know that America's outsourcing business to India. What do they get from India? What are they getting? Electrical equipment, pharmaceutical, pearls, precious stones, metals, coins, machinery, nuclear reactors. Very interesting. We're getting a lot of stuff from these two nations, right? And they're getting ready to go to war with each other. That's going to pause on a lot of things that's coming from there as well. That's why it says it could spread far and wide. Look at this. Global investors are watching with risky anxiety as tensions between India and Pakistan threaten to spiral into open armed conflict. The negative implications for markets could be deeper and more immediate than many realize. Following a deadly attack on tourists in Pahalgam, Kashmir, that left 26 dead, Pakistan Defense Minister Khawaja Muhammad Asif has warned that an Indian military incursion is imminent. And remember last week, they told everybody in India, if there was a Pakistani descent, they had to get out. If they was in there working with visas or whatever, get out. They wasn't having it, right? So they're separating the two. They're clearing our house, and they're getting ready for war over there, which is going to impact not only a possible nuclear conflict between them two, but also we see is going to impact the markets and the trades of all the things that we just got to see in. Silk, hold on. Let's be reminded. Silks, metals, cotton, right? What else do we see here? Tin, rubber, cereals, plastic, silk. I mean, these are all day-to-day things that are being used here, production in America, and all of those things can be jeopardized via this war. So if we're wondering if we're just worried about China and the tariffs and the imports that's coming from over there, no, it's going to extend if things don't simmer down with these two right here, and it ain't looking good. Look at this. How Pakistan-Indian war could spiral into a nuclear Armageddon, leaving 125 million dead in a week. As tensions between two neighbors reach boiling point after Kashmir atrocity. And you see how these heathens be acting when they be in the streets and they get into arguments, man. They get to wilding out, hitting each other with sticks, yelling all over the place. Over there in India, man, they raping all the dang. Excuse me. Let me, the algorithm and the bots, they hear them words. They are sexually assaulting tourists and women over there, gang raping them, right? Acting like straight up heathens. So just imagine these hothead heathens that be acting the damn fool. What would make you not think that they wouldn't just go crazy on each other? The slaughter of more than 24 Indian tourists holidaying in the meadows of the Basaran Valley by alleged Pakistan Islamist gunmen has left two nuclear armed powers edging closer to the brink of a potentially cataclysmic conflict. And you don't hear Trump running over there saying, hey, you two better calm down. I got my hands full over here with China. I got my hands full with Ukraine and Russia. I got my hands full with Israel and Hamas and Iran and Hezbollah. I don't need you over here too. You saying NIWGAs? You calm down. You don't hear him doing that. So who's going to stop these two from wilding out on each other? As of right now, nobody. Nobody. And they're both armed with nukes. Scriptures say the heathen are raging and imagining a vain thing. And it's going down. Look, PM Modi gives, quote, a free hand to armed forces to respond to Pahalgam terror attack. And you know that India is aligned with who? China, Russia, South Africa. Remember that? The BRICS and Brazil. So they're financially secured by the BRICS economy and the other nations that's involved with the BRICS, because it's beyond those five now. So do you think that Russia and China are going to allow their economic counterpart to falter, to lose that angle as far as productivity and economic circumstances to create a new economy? You think they're going to let that go? Or are they going to get their back and make sure that their economic interests are protected? I mean, it don't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. What side China, Russia, would take. They've got a financial investment in India. They'd have to get involved and make sure that things stay on the side of them prospering. But you hear the prime minister of India, he says, hey, do what you want to do. You can go ahead on and get busy if you want to. Look, affirming that it is India's, quote, national resolve to deal a crushing blow to terrorism, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the Indian armed forces have his full confidence and, quote, complete operational freedom to decide on the mode, targets, and timing. What's that do? He said, I'm letting the dogs loose. Do whatever you see fit. I'm not telling you not to do anything. Are nukes off the table, son? Nuke not off the table. You do a nuke if you want. He says you've got complete operational freedom and you can decide on the targets and timing. So he's giving them free reign. He said, if we got problems with Pakistan, I'm not telling you what not to do. I'm telling you do whatever you want to do, which includes nuclear options. Keep that in mind. Let's move on. I'm sure everybody's seen the power outages happening over there in Spain and Portugal and parts of France. What was that, on Monday? Yeah, that was a new moon. Day of the new moon. Wake up in the morning. I'm like, oh, snap. Massive power outage. Took out the power all the 2 countries and parts of France gave them some problems. Uh-oh. This could be big.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox as we continue to follow this breaking news story and major developments. The Associated Press here is saying that a major power outage has been reported in Spain and Portugal, including their capitals. The countries have a combined population of over 50 million people. It is not immediately clear how many people are affected. We did have some video from earlier today in regards to that power outage. The latest here is the fact that the Spanish power distributor Red Eléctrica said that restoring power fully to the country and neighboring Portugal could take 6 to 8 hours.
Let's see, the reason why people aren't panicking right now because it's not at night. If it was at night and there was no power and the sun's down and people is out there panicking and their phone's not working and the whole, there'd be a hell of a lot more confusion going on. They already was tripping at the forms of transportation, the train stations, the police, airports, so forth and so on. It was already a problem, right? Now, to my knowledge, the power's been restored. I think it ended up coming back up fully the next day. It went in spurts, but it ended up fully coming back. But this is a telltale sign to show that they don't know, and they're not ruling out that this was a quote unquote terror attack. They haven't completely came to a consensus as to the cause, but you can see at any particular point in time, it could be lights out. Grid go down. I mean, I was looking at a video earlier. I believe Bayan sent it over there in Cuba. Well, either might doing his little travel thing and whatnot. But I was interested because I remember years ago when our elders who passed away, Ibar Yala, rest in peace to him. He went to Cuba to go do some work. He went on his own. That brother, I give it to him. He didn't wait for nobody. If it was time to travel, the spirit was on him. He'll shake out and go do the work. But he went to Cuba on his own. So we got a little insight from him back then, some years ago, when I went out there, and that's just how it was. That's why I said back in the day, it was a hell of a lot different traveling. When it was like when we read that the gospel got to be preached throughout the 4 corners of the earth, and all, we got to go to Israel among all the nations. You had to go out there, and you would pop up on places where you had no connection, nobody. We would just show up, garments on and the whole nine, and just like, hey, the Israelites is here. And people looking at us like we space aliens. What's going on? Who are you guys? And that's the perfect time to start doing the work. Nowadays, sometimes we ain't going nowhere unless we got a connection. We got some brothers over there who's diligent, who's listening. Then we'll go which is all good too. But not to get too sidetracked, I just had a flashback about that. But a brother packed up, went on his own, and dipped over there to Cuba. But I say that to say, in that video, because of the conditions over there and the rationing of power, food, it is bad over there in Cuba. And I've covered stories and talked about Cuba, but when you see it, it's very, very humbling because we talk about we think we're going through it over here, right? But no, over there, lights off. When the sun goes down, they already turn the lights off at a certain time, but the lights are still out. I mean, you still got natural sunlight. When the sun goes down, there is literally no power. It is dark. There's no street lights. There's no, and most people, they ain't got the candles and the flashlights to keep things. They ain't got it. Everybody's sitting in the dark. Um, Food lines. They waiting. People waiting for the rations of food. To get their governmental rations to come out, and they got notebooks, and they say, "Oh, last week you had too much meat. We ain't giving you none this week. You're going without." So it's very interesting how our people. But the one thing is our people's spirit would not be broken. You couldn't tell them that they wasn't living in. They know they living in hell, and they in them curses. But if you see them, they all smiling. They still out in the streets. The kids playing. They laughing. I mean, Jake's is still finding beers to drink away the pain and do. But they going through it. But that's a gift and a curse with Israel because when the Most High says that He's going to our people being destroyed for lack of knowledge or whatnot, that the gift and the curse with Israel is that we know how to make SHIT, sugar honey iced tea, into lemonade, right? We adapt to the heats of hell and can make something better. We growing up in project, barrios, shanty towns, and all that, and you couldn't tell us that we didn't have fun in the hoods and in the ghettos and all of that. We didn't, find ways to make our plights into happiness and joy. And then sometimes our people don't believe we curse because they be like, "What? I had fun. I grew up in the hood all day." Like, no, that was cursed. That was bad. We went. Nowadays Jace is glorifying how bad they come up, how bad their neighborhoods are. Like that's nothing to be glorified. I grew up in Watts, Compton. I grew up in Brooklyn. I grew up in Memphis. I grew up in it was all day gangbanging, death over here in Fort Worth, Texas. That's nothing to glory from. But that's Israel for us. We know how to turn something bad into good. So I looked at this and I was like, oh, this is why they, really wasn't wild panicking and tripping because the daylight was out, cars are still moving the whole night, so they could still operate and do what they need to do. And they all probably was hoping by the time the sun goes down, the lights will be back on. But when you see that they deal with that every day in places like Cuba, Venezuela, they got, power rationings and water rationings and all that every day. That once a day in Venezuela, the government comes by and allows people 20 minutes to fill up as much water as they can. You got to, people bringing out their buckets and their containers because for 20 minutes you get the water and you can fill up as much as you can because you're not going to get any more for another day. So that's cooking, bathing, drinking, whatever. You got to get it all in 20 minutes and that's it. Power outages happening off and on. So our people, we know how to adapt, but it ain't something that you want to have to deal with on the regular, right? So we see what happened over there with Spain, Portugal, and ironically, in my neighborhood there was a power outage that same day, and I was like, "Oh snap! Here it goes. Is it hitting over here too?" But ours was down. Maybe it was a couple minutes. Then it came back on. But when I seen these particular countries and then it hit me, I said, "Oh." It reinvigorated in me. Make sure that my power sources and whatnot, backup power sources, was on point, ready to rock, charged up or whatever, because you never know. It could be attack on the grid, could be anything. You power out, power companies go down, landline go down. It could be days, who knows? But it's better to be prepared than not, right? The scriptures, we talked about this earlier. The scriptures in Proverbs 30, is it 30? Um, yeah, 30 and 25 about the ants. And Most High tells us to observe the ants. He said they might be small, but they pack up their meat and they get ready and they prepare for the summer. They know what's coming down the pipeline and they know how to prepare to get themselves situated. So this ain't just gonna be the only time, Spain and Portugal, but this was monumental because you're talking about whole countries gone without power, 50 million people left stranded. So if you haven't gotten your flashlights, your backup USB chargers for your cell phones, some candles, whatever the case may be, some USB lights that you might be able to, plug into a little a power generator, a power bank. You might want to start thinking about it. And unfortunately, now ain't the time to be invested in them things because things are so expensive. It's not like it was 5-6 years ago or even longer when they were at a premium and there really wasn't a lot of people foreseeing the need for those things. So you can buy things on a lot cheaper than they are now. I've compared prices of stuff that I bought 5-6 years ago, and they're up. Anywhere from 50, 60, $100 more than what I bought it for. I'm like, oh snap. I feel bad for people who ain't got this stuff, who ain't prepared, right? So this is just a heads up for everybody to know. These things are gonna come, and you want to be prepared and be ready. I shared a story a while back. I was doing a DSTM, and I believe there was a power outage at the time. It was right when I was about to, finish. There was a power outage, and I ended up, obviously closing out the DSTM. It was a couple years back, and I looked at, my block. I'm looking around, lights out, everything's dead. Fortunately, I got some ways to get some lights up in here, and we had lights. Now I go outside. I said, let me go outside and see my neighbors, anybody else. Are they prepared? What's going on? I walked 2 blocks and I saw one other house with some lights on. Other than that, all the apartments, houses, everybody blacked out. I said, oh, these people ain't ready. They are not ready. Aladai can give you his testimony he did when the fires went down up there in Pasadena. People is not ready. When that scripture say that you're going to have the 10 nations grabbing the skirt of him that's a Jew saying, we're coming with you, help. That was just a preview of what can and will happen when the ish hits the fan. How many people are not prepared? I went back in the house when I seen that nobody else. I said, man, turn them lights off. You utilize the smaller lights because don't let your neighbors, anybody else say, they got lights. What's going on over there? They got food. What the? Hey, you guys good in there? We see the light. Can we come in? Is your power out? Now you got to bat them down. You got to get rid of them. Because what Second Ezra says, that people are going to come to you for lack of bread. They're going to be breaking down your house. They don't give a damn how long you've been neighbors. They're coming. So you still have to be wise in your resources and what you share with your neighbors as well. Obviously, your Israelite family and all that, we know we're here for those that's fearing the commandments that's going to not thwart our efforts to continually be protected by the Lord. But every time Dick and Harry they want to come up, hey, we see you guys. Hello, we smell something coming out the door. Let us in. No. You see here? 2 Ezra 15:5. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Yeah, when it hits the fan, look, verse 18, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Once they hear you got something going on, they see something, they smell something, they see in you. Remember, Leave the World Behind? In that scene where the white woman, Julia Roberts, she seen the other dude loading up his truck with preparatory goods. And guess what? When it's just the fan, whose house did they go to? They went to his house. Her husband and somebody went to his house to go try to went to go try to get some help from him. And he had to shake him down and basically told him, like, at first he was like, man, I ain't helping you, get out of here. And then shook him down for help. But that's how it is. You know, it's gonna be. Absolutely right, Allardyce, and water as well. Yeah, because you never know. They could contaminate some plants. Who knows? You might not be able to even get out because of martial law or something going on. You can't go get your resources, and you're waiting on the government to drop off some cases of water at a particular location, and you're waiting for your number to be called, and you can't go. They did that in China with the DVOC 91 situation. People couldn't come out the house, but I think every 3 days they was allowed to come out and go shopping, or come out for a certain amount of time they had to get back. So, you know, this power outage that we're seeing, this is just a foretelling of what can come down the pipeline, and it should spark something in you to say, if that happened here, am I ready? Or would I just sit in the dark and say, no, Esau gonna get it back on. He gonna turn it back on. I got faith. It's gonna be short. I ain't gonna worry about it. Or you might just go to sleep and say, I'll just wait till the sun comes up and hopefully things will change. If not, I'll go out to the stores and I'll go get some stuff then. By the time you get out there and you get to them stores, you're gonna see all them shelves are gonna be ramshacked, ran through, lines outside. You seen what happened with that same plague I'm talking about? People lined up like crazy in all the stores, panic buying like a Mickey Flicky, because we wasn't ready. So let this be a lesson. We've seen what happened over there, right? Let's move on. France says Russia behind a decade of cyber attacks. So France, who also got a portion of their country was hit with the power outages, France immediately jumps up and says, "Oh, let's not rule out Russia. Russia could have been behind the cyber attack that knocked the power out." You know, France is stirring the pot. They want war with Russia so bad it's not even funny. Meanwhile, France is about the size of a few states in the Midwest. It can get smoked in a minute, one-on-one with Russia. They don't want it, but France knows they got 30 other countries that would have to ride with them, known as NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, that would have to go. So France immediately jumps out and says, hey, they've been behind a decade of cyber attacks. We got to definitely consider them with this power outage, right, as usual. France on Tuesday accused Russian military intelligence of being behind cyber attacks against the nation over the last decade. The attacks from Moscow's hackers include Emmanuel Macron's 2017 presidential campaign and a TV network in 2015, the foreign ministry said. So they come out with this after the power outages. So the accusations is flying, just stirring up the pot, trying to keep the heat going, right? There's another article still in the dark now. Spain opens sabotage probe amid chaotic scramble for cause of mass blackout as unusual activity spotted in the UK grid. So there you have it. That's why I said they haven't ruled out. They didn't. This was as of the 29th. This was what Wednesday. So they hadn't ruled out, or it might have been Tuesday or Wednesday. They hadn't ruled out that this was open the sabotage or cyber attack or what have you, as they were saying that there was unusual activity with the UK grid. And we've seen what happened in the UK when all the power went out at the airport. They had a power outage and they had a quote unquote possible cyber attack over there. So something outside of the spirit of the Lord is attacking the power grid over there in Europe. So let's not be surprised if this happens more often, more frequent, and even larger. And don't think it can't happen here. Anybody use Zelle? It was supposedly down yesterday for certain banks. This is another thing we talked about before. Even if you're able, don't like to talk too much about finances, anything like that on the Sabbath. However, wisdom-wise, always know that you might want to have a little greenback on hand, pillowcase, shoebox, safe. You know what I'm talking about in regards to the event that everything is digitized, especially this generation now. I think it's Gen Z. They know nothing but plastic and chips. They cash. They like what? No. I use card. I'm using my Apple phone, Apple Watch, Apple Pay. I'm using Google Pay. I'm swiping. They that's not even a thought. My old school folks, I told y'all about the time I was in the school and in the store. I seen the elderly sister writing a check. I was like, dang, she's still off the grid. Like as far as electronic tracking, and I was envious. I was like, man, good for her. She was able to still, maintain writing checks. But this is what happens, Zelle down across U.S., leaving thousands unable to send money. So if it was time to pay that rent, mortgage, and utilize Zelle, you're paying your bills. You had to, pay your folks or whatever the case may be. You use Zelle for. It was down for a number of customers, hundreds. Several banks, including TD Bank, as well as a popular cash transferring service, Zelle, was unable to log into their accounts or send payments today, according to Down Detector. Ally Bank, Bank of America, NBT Bank, Flagstar Bank, Cadence Bank, Webster Bank, Park National Bank, and Northwest Bank. These were all the banks that was affected. Bank of America obviously is the big boy out of the rest. The rest sound like more localized banks where Zelle was down. But a lesson to be learned from here: don't trust in the technology to, always utilize the digitized services to make sure that you got more faith in multiple options than not. So imagine if your money's all tied up in the bank or on the in the Zelle account or whatever. I think Zelle is attached to your bank account. So if there was some reason that your account got froze or whatever the case may be, matter of fact, I'll share with y'all. I had a testimony earlier this week. There was I had a banking issue, transferring money from one account to another. My bank, the money was taken out, transferred to another account, and the other account wasn't crediting it. So we went a couple of days like, where's the money at? I'm like, it's already been taken out my account. How come it didn't go into this other account? It's sitting in limbo. So immediately, my wife, she called on the bank and making a complaint saying, hey, what's going on? This as of right now, we're looking at fraud. They done took the money, they ain't crediting it, da 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 da. My bank says, oh, well, your only option is to close your account and open up a new one. We're gonna have to freeze your account. Um, in the meantime, we'll freeze your account and you can close this one fine. I said, what? Hell no. You're supposed to deal with a fraud investigation. You're supposed to credit my account back, deal with the investigation, find out what's what, and then you double back and acknowledge, hey, we was able to recoup the money, you whatever. Not the immediate response is we're gonna freeze your account and close it, and then you gotta go over here. And I'm like, what? No, you're not gonna trap my money up. You're not closing nothing, you're not freezing nothing. This you got to something else got to give, you know. So just know that as the elder put on there, technology only good when it works. Absolutely. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, y'all. That's all I'm trying to say. Long story short, you can see here. Zelle, Cash App, all the other stuff, Apple Pay, all that stuff is technology based. Push of a button, it could all be gone. Push of a button, it could be froze. Push of a button, it could be held up. Or it could, really get in the way of, even that. Yeah. That's a whole nother. I don't want, I don't want to make it too long about all the issues, but UZL to his credit, he just put on there. There was another issue with Cash App. And it's just a lesson for everybody. Might as well. That we had a Parim exchange gifts. My wife got Uziel's son for Rim. She sent him some money via Cash App. Now she puts in the header a gift for Parim, but the autocorrect on her phone put a gift for Putin. Now, because that said that, Cash App froze the transaction, said that sent her this whole email talking about sanctions and your, your account now is under investigation because you're funding for Russia. Some wild stuff. Froze her account for damn near 3-4 days or more, and all because of the phone putting Putin instead of Parim, and caused a whole bunch of matters, man. I mean, it was unbelievable. And you know, with Cash App, you ain't talking to nobody direct, and that's the frustration too. Once you do get somebody, they sound like they from Timbuktu somewhere, or Philippines, or India, and you like, what? Give me somebody who can understand. Give me somebody onshore. I'm not dealing with you. No, sure, I can help you. I'm not. Get off the phone. Give me somebody who can deal with it. I can help. And if you ain't getting that, you're dealing with some damn bot that's giving you auto responses on the chat line. So it's becoming, this B system is becoming even more of a maze to get through, and this is part of us breaking away from this B system that's going to be enacted. Just wait till they get the MOB going. That's really when I'm gathering resources. I'm going to get into another element of the MOB, the mark of, you know what, in regards to Revelation 13 and the biotech and everything that's coming down the pipeline. It's so clear to me, but I'm gonna share all the stuff with y'all so you can kind of see where they're going to implement this thing. So it's going to go down, right? So we see here Zell down. So if you haven't thought about it, haven't been able to, just start thinking about it, man. Stash a little, whatever. Everybody ain't got cash like that, ain't got the bread like that. But if you think about it, hey, old school piggy bank, drop some egg. You got a few dollars that you got back from the store that you lose dollars. Hey, throw them in the piggy bank, man. Throw them somewhere so that you can, save them up. So in the event that you do need, your account's frozen up, they telling you, hey, you got to come into the branch. The branch giving you hell to withdraw anything. They need 8 forms of ID to identify you to get your bank. You've been going there for the last 15 years, and they know you by face, and they sitting back saying, we need ID. We don't know you. Before you get money out. Before you go through all that hell, if you got a little time or you got the effort that you can save up a little bread at the crib, do that and make sure that it's secure. Invest in a safe or something like that to store your coinage, store your shekels, because you never know, you may need it. All right, let's continue. Here we go. Port of Los Angeles warrants difficult decisions ahead of shipments from China cease. Now, this is interesting because even, when you look at even in the scriptures, let's go back to Ecclesiastes 12. Did I spell it right? Oh, yeah, all praises. Let's look at 12, right? And let's read down. So, reading this headline again, and everybody's hearing about it, you're knowing what's going on. Tough times are coming down the pipeline. They're estimating 2 to 4 weeks, could be sooner, could be longer. We don't know. They're constantly. We seen last week when Trump double backed on his. We're not going to press China. We're going to be very nice and da 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 da. There's hard lines that's being drawn. There's other lines that's not. He's backing down. He's trolling here. We don't know what this MF is doing, man. But one thing we do know is that the tariffs is definitely here. The shortage on particular goods and services is coming. We just got to seeing the conflict between India and Pakistan. That's going to affect the markets and trade. There's going to be a shortage of things, whether we like it or not, see it or don't, right? They're anticipating a 35% decline in cargo coming through the port of LA. One of the brothers sent the video with there's a brother down in Panama And he on his daily walk, he goes through or by the Panama Canal, and he said normally you will see ships, cargo ships. Nothing was out there. Whether or not that's as accurate as I know, I don't know. I ain't been there. I don't know. But you would think there'd be some ships going around over there, but there was nothing out there. A lot of the ports now that, I talked about it last week, they talking about layoffs is kicking in. Remember the report from the trucker? He was saying that all of the port workers, the truckers, everybody's going to be suffering because work is going to slow up, right? President Trump's trade war policies are expected to bring about a 35% decline in cargo arriving at the port of LA by next week, as quote, essentially all shipments out of China from major retailers and manufacturers have ceased, according to the Port of LA Executive Director Gene Soroka. So not only that, again, we was talking earlier, the cat that owns the farm where we get our lambs from for Passover. We was looking at doing something, or Alada was looking at doing something, just getting some business with him for a lamb. And he was like, look, you got to get it this week. After this week, everything's going up. My expenses is going up. My suppliers, their expenses going up. Everything's going up within the next week. So even down to farming, agriculture, you name it, everybody is getting affected somehow, some way via these tariffs, right? So let's look at Ecclesiastes 12. We'll read down. It says, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. So in other words, we're seeing here what the scripture is saying, remember thy creator in the days of thy youth. In the good times, the bad times, we always remember the Most High. It says, while the evil days not coming, when you got good days, at times is not, the elements of Jacob's trouble haven't fully manifested themselves and completely put things in perspective to where we don't have opportunities to, prepare, shore up, pray up, fast up, and get things in order. He said, we always got to remember the Creator. Right. Continuing on, it says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. So what is this letting us know? That there's going to be a time when the grinders, who are the grinders? The grinders are the workers. It says they cease because they're few. Well, why would there be few? Or maybe because they're getting laid off, maybe because business slowed up. Maybe because industries aren't present anymore. Strong men bowing themselves down. Right? Look at verse 4. It says, and the door shall be shut in the streets. Oh, businesses closing. Haven't we been hearing about that? Small businesses suffering. Businesses going out of business. All these box stores closing up. Massive stores all over the place. Historical furniture stores and all kind of places down south closing up because they can't maintain business anymore. Doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. Well, that means work, industry, slow down. When the sound of the grinding is low. And what do we keep hearing about? America doesn't produce anything anymore. America ain't got no businesses no more. We rely on imports for everything. La, 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 la. Yeah, that's where it's going. The sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. So we're seeing a time of what? Depression is going to be kicking in, right? And there's nothing new under the sun. Like I said, I did a lesson 3 years ago or more about the mirroring of the Great Depression of the Roaring 20s and 2020 moving forward, right? And there were very similar parallels that we can draw between those two eras. I might have to re-upload that lesson. Some of y'all might not have gotten a chance to see it or watch it, or you might need to be revisited. But like I said, I did that maybe 3-4 years ago. And sure enough, here we are, we're leaning closer into, and you remember the Great Depression kicked in like 1929 and moved on up. And what do we keep hearing about? So much change happening here in Americas and in the world. 2030, Agenda 2030, Green New Deal, Building Back Better, making America great again. The Olympics is 2028 moving forward. All of that. Yeah, exactly. You're right, Elder Rashad, when you said the windows being darkened with blackouts. Yeah, that means the lights out. I forgot to make mention of that. See that? And those that look out the windows be darkened. Why are you looking out the windows? Because the power's out. Rolling blackouts, you know. But leave it to Trump. He's running around talking about energy's down, prices are down, there's no inflation, food prices down, everything's good. Are you insane? I mean, is this dude snorting the leftover coke that Slow Biden and them left? I mean, what world is he living in? He's acting like everything's been turned around and it's all great. Unbelievable. So we see what's happening with these shipments. They're expecting a 35% decline in cargo. The ports slowing up here in LA. This is one of the biggest ports that America has to offer. There's other ports down in the Gulf of Mexico. There's ports over there in Maryland. There's ports up north. But LA has one of the biggest ports that the country relies on. And that's going to be coming up short, right? Continuing on, nowhere to turn. Small businesses dependent on imports from China are feeling more desperate. So there we go. Small businesses now are going to be suffering. Look, major orders canceled, containers of products left stranded overseas, no roadmap for what comes next. President Donald Trump seemed to back down somewhat last week when he said that expected tariffs to come down substantially. That helped set off a rally in the stock market. That's all he's concerned about. There's a, and I'm gonna cover that in a minute. I believe I got the story, but there is a scheme that he's running with that crypto. Remember, he had the Trump coin and all that, and it boosted up. He got like 50-something million overnight, and everybody jumped on the bandwagon. They made a little bread, and then it all dipped. Now, through that coin and that crypto, he's utilizing that to funnel in millions of dollars from top investors to have meetings with him. They're sending him investing in the coin, and then they get to have meetings with him and have input. Like, not saying that he has, I don't know, but remember Larry Fink, BlackRock, remember him? And he made that phone call to Trump talking about, let's get the Panama Canal. Already got spots lined up for the ports. We can take over that. And then Trump was like, okay, bet. If they don't want to give it up through negotiation, we might do it militarily. And all of a sudden now, you know, the Panama Canal became a target. So he's utilizing that. This dude is wicked as hell. But now we see here, small businesses are going to suffer. Look at this. China exports to plunge as tariffs hit, leading some experts to warn of product shortages. So we've been talking about that, right? Supply chain leakages. We've heard everybody from Walmart, Home Depot, Target, Costco, a number of different places are talking about how they're going to be affected with their retail supply chains. And if you know, if you're working at these particular stores, these service industries in particular, let's say the grocery stores, they are relying upon shipments weekly. Whatever you see in them stores is all that they have. They may have small rations of certain things in the back, but they really ain't got nothing. So whatever you see in there, that's it. After that's gone, there ain't no more. They're relying upon the next shipment. And if the shipment don't come in or the shipment's late, you can't get certain things, or they may not have it. You know, they playing games by, you know, they may have 3 bottles or something. They push it all to the front as if they got, you know, full stock. Once you look behind it, you're like, where's the rest? There's no more. No, you asking somebody, do you have any more barbecue sauce? No, that's all we got. If you don't see it there, that's all we got. I'm sure all of y'all have gone to the store and said, do you have this? And they say, if it ain't there, we ain't got it. Put a 7 in the chat if that's happened to you of recent. You're going to the store and you ask for something and they ain't got it. And they say, if it ain't there, sorry. Right. Let's continue. Port of LA says shipping volumes have plummeted 35% after the tariff. So we did cover that. Let's move on. Look at this. Now, this one you know is in trouble. McDonald's U.S. sales decline in shaky economy. I mean, look, when the world's number one fast food place, remember they used to always have the sign 1 billion, over 1 billion served. You know, Ronald McDonald, McDonald's Playland. McDonald's is a marketing genius, man. Have you ever seen that movie? What was the name of that movie? The dude did the documentary. I think he Most High smote him too. The dude that did the documentary uh about the fast food. Super Size Me. That was it. Super Size Me. Uh they went into the whole development of, you know, how McDonald's rose to power. And then there's also a movie, I haven't seen it yet, but there's speculation that the dude that started McDonald's, he actually stole the recipe and the idea from somebody else, and he blew up utilizing McDonald's. But you know, when McDonald's sales is down, that's an indicator that the economy is really proud. Because it don't matter. McDonald's could do no wrong, man. They came out with the pink slime. Was that the name of the movie, Hashimai Founder? I think that was it. Yeah, that was it. Like I said, I didn't see it, but I did see. I think the we called it the previews about it. But yeah, they said the dude stole the McDonald's recipe or something, the burger recipe, and started off with McDonald's. But it was all based upon him stealing an idea and blew it up. But anyway, when you see McDonald's, they sales down. I mean, they, like I said, they could do no wrong. They had the pink slime scandal, people still lining up. They had all kind of problems with the food. You see the supersize when the dude did 2 supersizes me. Did that stop anybody from going to McDonald's? McDonald's got even bigger from that. I've seen McDonald's line. I haven't ate McDonald's. Sheesh. I ain't ate McDonald's in damn near 12 to 15 years. Maybe at least that. I'm pretty sure it's in that range. We see here, I've seen McDonald's with lines like it's in and out with people, and I'm like, what is going on? What are people going over there for? What is in there that people are still hooked on it? But now we're seeing one thing that's going to stop people from going is their prices and the money, right? Oh, Jack in the Box to close up to 200 locations may sell Del Taco. So it doesn't matter how many damn collaborations Snoop Dogg and the Jack in the Box character is doing and all the commercials that they got going on. Jack in the Box is suffering too. I didn't even know Jack in the Box owned Del Taco as well. A lot of these places are collaborating together. I think Burger King and KFC are the same company. I'm just finding out Jack in the Box and Del Taco are the same place. I think Taco Bell is also under the umbrella with KFC. I mean, it's wild. It is wild. So I don't know if anybody's gonna miss any of these Jack in the Box places, but yeah. Well, you got me beat, Shalak, but I'm in that range. I ain't named McDonald's in about at least 12, 15 years. Somewhere around there, I would say. But anyway, y'all already know. And fun fact, Jack in the Box, I believe, has been sold since. But Jack in the Box used to be owned by Purina. And for you dog lovers and dog owners, remember Purina Purina Dog Food is the same company. They used to own Jack in the Box. I remember being a kid in the 80s hearing about the kangaroo meat scandal from Jack in the Box. So go figure. Will I give them the benefit of the doubt? How they clean up the accents? Then does Purina still own them? I don't think so. I think they sold it. But either way, I don't think I'll be or anybody will be shedding any tears that Jack in the Box is closing 200 stores and they're thinking about selling off Del Taco. Um, but there you go. Just a sign of the economy. That's all. Whatever if it's lawful according to Deuteronomy 11 and Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14. I'm not here to regulate whatever you eat, and just as long as it's lawful. However, health wise, you might want to reconsider eating in these places. I'm not gonna be a hypocrite and say I ain't never ate fast food before in my life. I'd be lying to you. But you got to be wise in your intake. All right. Yeah, all of y'all know that Jack and the Crack, it's notorious. Notorious, right? Continuing on, you see here, the weekly jobless claims surged to 241,000, more than expected in the latest sign of economic trouble. So jobless claims is rising up. They try to send out some bogus report talking about, job creations reports is greater than we expected. Look, these are all lies. Remember, after Biden's hurrah, his final hurrah, when they finally popped out and said, the job reports for the last 3 quarters of the last year was lies, they made up 18 million jobs. What was it? 81 million jobs? It was some astronomical number that they lied about the job report and said it was all fraudulent. You got 241,000 new jobless claims a week of people saying they're looking for work. Then they double back and say, we created 170,000 jobs. That's bogus. They're not creating these jobs. The companies are listing that they have openings, but they're ghost jobs. They're not hiring nobody. And if they do have jobs, they're part-time or they're low wage, not enough to sustain to be in this economy and where we're at right now. So they patting themselves on the back saying, look, we're helping the economy and it's going good, huh? Meanwhile, ain't nothing out there. You go out there and try to apply. You're gonna apply to like 50 jobs, all saying we're hiring, we need help now. You ain't getting calls back. You're getting fake interviews, and we don't want to see you. Let's do a phone interview. Yeah, we'll call you. Or is this fake altogether? And they supposed to say they supposed to be banning ghost jobs, but companies are out there just trying to report. We did open some new positions. I just had a meeting in my job. They just said, where's a hiring freeze? We are not hiring. So you can forget about it. People are leaving. They're not replacing positions. They're dealing with smaller staff. They're just like, hey, we got to deal with it. We ain't hiring nobody else. People moving on. They quit, whatever. They get laid off. We're not replacing them positions. So that's where we're at right now. Tight squeeze, y'all. Buckle up. UPS cutting 20,000 jobs, but it's not what you think. Don't worry. It's not bad. 20,000 people are going to be looking for employment, looking to survive, looking to support their families, but it's not what you think. Why are they saying this? Look, UPS will cut 20,000 jobs this year, about 4% of its global workforce, the company said Tuesday. Now, remember a couple years ago when UPS went on strike and they got that big old raise, the drivers was making $50+ an hour. No, what was it? The warehouse workers, I think, was making $50 an hour. The drivers was making more than that. They was out there balling. I remember the week after they settled, I seen a cat driving a UPS truck. He's bumping music. He's smiling. I said, that raise kicking in, huh? He was rolling. But we knew it was only temporal. We knew they was going to hit the layout down the pipeline. Man, you cannot trust your enemy. Don't get it twisted. So they're saying, it's not what you think. It's not because of the tariffs. What's the problem? Hold on. 20,000 jobs cut this year, 4% of the global workforce, the company said Tuesday, but UPS added the decision is unrelated to tariffs and is instead due to increased use of technology and previously announced plan to trim its Amazon business. Hello? It's not the tariffs. It's because we got AI and the robots to replace you. Haven't we been talking about that already? We're not going to be dealing with Amazon deliveries either. We got to cut back. Is that supposed to make them 20,000 people excited or feel better that, it's not, or the consumers, it's not because of the tariffs. No problem. Okay, it's because the technology and the robots are replacing it. We've been saying all of the above. So let's not try to make it seem like it's not what you think. It is what you think, and it's worse. All them raises they gave everybody, all that picketing and marching and fighting, and you got what you wanted, but it was temporal because they knew the replacements was coming down the pipeline. UPS in January announced a quote glide down plan to cut its business with Amazon, its largest customer, in half by the middle of 2026. So that means that even more layoffs is coming within the next year. They want to cut half their business with Amazon. Remember, Amazon was booming, especially during the pandemic age. You had to get everything for Amazon, damn near. Now that's getting cut. The tariffs are even affecting Amazon's business. Amazon went public and was like, look, prices are going up. And when you check out, you're going to see the differences in what you're going to be paying due to the tariffs. Thank your president. Don't blame us. And have a nice day. You can expect your package in 24 hours or 3 to 6 weeks. Who knows? So this is what they're doing. UPS CEO Carol Tomei said Tuesday that most of the Amazon business that it is giving up is, quote, not profitable for us nor a healthy fit for our network. So now Amazon's going to be cutting off. That means that they're not going to have the ability to have Amazon Prime and get your packages as soon as you in them particular ways that you was used to getting. So that means they're going to have to increase their prices for more delivery drivers or whatever, however they decide to compromise it. They're going to make sure that we end up having to pay more because the level of production and delivery is going to be suffering over the next year. So 20,000 now. Let's see how many goes down in 2026 because it says they're gliding down. It's a slow drop, slow kill, right? It ain't done yet. Let's move on. Some more strikes. LA County workers marching downtown as part of a 2-day strike. And this is kind of a joke too, because the people who's out there protesting, they smiling, they just happy it's a day off, they out there laughing. LA County is ridiculous. So they planned a 2-day strike, and it really wasn't none of the major portions of county workers that was down there. But the fact that they're even organizing marches or whatnot is just something to take note of. But I was watching them down there, they out there laughing and partying and with their little signs out there. If they're going to make a statement, it's going to have to be a lot more serious than that. More than 50,000 LA County workers were on strike again Tuesday, closing libraries and disrupting administrative operations in the nation's most populous county and organizing a large march in downtown. The 2-day walkout that began Monday followed failed negotiations with the county for a new contract after last year's one expired in March, according to the Service Employees International Union, Local 721. Those I said the negotiations failed is because when I seen them people out there, man, they out there giggling and the LA County's like, please. Especially now with people that's looking for jobs, they'll look to get rid of them and temporarily hire some people just to keep the ship afloat as they can get by, right? So you got that going on, right? Now look at this. All these particular protests. Cuba stages the mass day rally. Cuba stages the mass May Day rally to denounce U.S. sanctions. May Day demonstrations in U.S. and around the globe protest Trump agenda. Police arrest more than 400 in Istanbul with the May Day showdowns. This is all on May 1st. They're all coming down with all of these particular protests. Well, hey, that's par for the course. We got to take note of that. You got people over here in LA going through with their picketing. You've got everyone. There's multiple protests around the world from Cuba to Turkey. Well, what 2nd Ezra 9 tell us? Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. So what's he talking about? The prophecies, the judgments that's going to be coming to pass, the things that we're locking in on and understanding that the will of the Lord is moving through, his spirit is moving through the earth. So when we're hearing about all these particular protests and everybody getting in an uproar and, they're starting to get a little bit more seditious and people are really having an evil eye towards Trump. Oh, well, yeah, yeah, that's his role. He's got to embody the great whore so that the nations can hate him. They've got to be reminded that he was making them drink, and America has made them drink from the wine of the wrath of the fornication since its inception, and since the deals that they made via the UN, the EU, Club of Rome, all that other stuff, right? So look at this.
Back here in the U.S., more than 100 people were taken into custody overnight in a raid on an underground nightclub in Colorado. Active duty U.S. military personnel were also there, according to authorities, who say they were either working security or were there as patrons. And tonight, what officials say they found inside. Here's ABC's Alex Brochet.
Overnight, a massive raid in Colorado Springs. More than 300 federal agents breaching what authorities say was an underground illegal nightclub as part of a drug investigation. These images, posted by the DEA's Rocky Mountain Division, show stools toppled over, a Mexican passport, and pills. Even car keys left in the chaos.
What was happening inside was significant drug trafficking, prostitution, crimes of violence.
All of this the results of a months-long investigation. The DEA says ICE took more than 100 people who they say were here illegally into custody, and that members of the military were there as well.
We had over a dozen active duty service members in the club tonight, either as patrons or working as armed security.
Did you hear that? So not only do we see the ICE raids and the DEA doing investigations, cracking down on illegal clubs where, these quote unquote illegals are hanging out, doing drugs, getting harlots and the whole nine. U.S. military is there as patrons. They over there looking for hoes and drinks. And if they ain't doing that, they running security. This is the hypocritical nature, that America is ran by. Agent Orange is so proud of the military, so proud of what they. Meanwhile, they're hustling side gigs because the money that they're getting paid and the amenities that they're getting from their services in the military ain't cutting it. So we got to go get these side gigs. Oh, doing security at an illegal club with all kind of illegals running through. Okay, cool. So as long as they paying. Oh, that club is popping. Well, my day off, I'm inviting the homies, and we going over to the club. The harlots is in there for cheap, and you want to get high, whatever your pleasure is. This is wild, but this is one thing that we see. 100 of them, they setting up they setting up these traps, man. With these ICE agents, they cracking down. You got some of the 10 tribes scared to go to church because they talking about we coming to the churches, the schools, they all over the place. Running raids. 100 plus they caught over here in this thing. Meanwhile, they say that the military, they're going to do an investigation on the guys that was up there. I'm so sure.
Agents tell us a raid of this scale in that region is unprecedented.
When asked for those service members allegedly involved, the Army says that its Criminal Investigations Division is now conducting a joint investigation with the DEA. With Alex Brochet.
Oh, isn't that nice? America is something else. Here we go. Trump's quest for crypto riches is a constitutional scandal waiting to happen. The largest investors in Donald Trump's crypto coin have been promised a private audience with the president. The arrangement could put Trump at odds with the Constitution and add fuel to calls for his impeachment, experts say. So I think somebody put in the chat 2 wings of the same bird. Absolutely. He rode on the wave of the Biden crime family, crooked Hillary, and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, he's involving himself in the same type of scam schemes in political white-collar crimes. Donald Trump agreed to attend a dinner with the largest investors in his own brand cryptocurrency. He transformed the Trump coin into something else entirely, a means of access to the sitting president. As a consequence, Trump could find himself at odds with constitutional prohibitions of bribery and corruption, experts claim. And meanwhile, he's trying to separate himself and funnel it over to his sons and the family and the daughters and all of that. They're all getting in on it. Same way Slow Biden and all that. They look, man, you seen what happened with the Biden family. Hunter Biden with the laptop and the hose and the crack and everything else. You're finding everything from weed to coke in the White House. It became the trap house. The Ukraine deals, the China deals. I mean, you name it. They was going crazy. What happened with Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation and Haiti and them funneling all that money over there to them? They all do the same thing. Now he's organizing dinners to get billionaires, really large investors to invest in his Trump coin to have a private meeting with him. What are they going to talk about? How they can influence political policy to help benefit them. You notice he got a number of different billionaires sitting in his cabinet. He wants to be around money. He's used to money. He wants to be around that. He wants to help all his rich cronies, continually keep a power grip on America and their business interests. What better way than to grease the pockets of the number one politician in the world? That's how it works. So he's flirting with scandal and impeachment if the money trail leads back to him, right? Look at this guy. Shocking revelations about a crazed plane passenger who ate rosary beads on the flight. This is a damn shame, man. But here you go. Haitian brother with demons on him. That's because he got that damn idol with the 10 beads and more rubbing on him, giving his offerings and prayers up to the goddess Mother Mary. All of this is not scriptural at all. There is first of all, utilizing the idol to pray. Number two, Yahushua said, don't use vain repetitions. That's what the Hail Mary, Mother Grace, the Our Father prayer. You're saying 10 Hail Marys. You're praying that Mary prays for your sins. None of that is scriptural. And this maniac was talking about he was fleeing religious attacks and spiritual warfare. As he was riding on the plane, he immediately had a spirit on him and started eating the damn rosary. That's what happens when you carry around these damn idols and the possession of power jumps on him. Look, a crazed plane passenger who devoured a set of rosary beads on an American Airlines flight is a Haitian doctor whose mother and father were both murdered. Delonge Augustine, 31, was arrested last month after he lashed out just 1 minute into a flight from Savannah, Georgia to Miami, Florida. Augustine, a radiologist, had been traveling with his sister, Magina, who told authorities at the time that they were going to Haiti to flee religious attacks of a spiritual nature. I wonder how and where them damn demons came from. I mean, look what he was into. Look what they was into. Let alone the Haitians. And they involved in voodoo, witchcraft, and all kind of madness. But thinks he's bucking his cultural norms and going to Catholicism where there's nothing but demons over there too. Yet no wonder he was under attack. And obviously the rosary wasn't working, man. He had to eat it, hoping that he could maybe devour the demon. Who knows what this guy was on. Other passengers had to restrain him after he lashed out at the flight attendant before authorities boarded the flight when the pilot quickly returned to Savannah. Regina has since had an article she wrote about her brother published in the Haitian outlet Les Nouvelles. She says that after being released on bail last month, the siblings attempted again to return to Haiti, only for Augustine to be jailed again in Georgia before another flight. So now he's banned from flying because he got these damn demons on him because of the damn Catholic Church. And mind you, the introduction of rosary for Catholicism didn't even come into effect until like the 13th century, maybe like 13th, 14th century AD. There's nowhere this is scripture, and our goofy people like him, man, allowing these damn demons to come along, and he's thinking that a idol, a rosary bead, is going to protect him. If he says enough prayers to Mary and rubs on the damn beads, each one, and says these repetitive, vain, repetitious prayers, that somehow Mary's going to pray for your sins and protect you, that she's being exalted as the second under Christ, and a co-mediator, as they say in the Catholic Church. I mean, it's all kind of ridiculous foolishness through that doctrine, man. And this Jake, man, lost his damn mind, and now he can't get back home to Haiti. And who knows how the rosary beads came out? I don't even want to know. Let's move on. Chile braces for Antarctic tsunami, with coastal evacuations underway after a huge 7.5 magnitude earthquake. That was yesterday. 7.5 earthquake down in Chile. Remember that we just had a few more earthquakes we talked about the week before. So the earthquake, diverse places, is definitely kicking in. There was a tsunami warning that went down there. They was evacuating everybody up out of coastal towns or whatnot, shutting down the schools, you name it. They were saying that the waves could reach up to 9 feet tall. But I believe afterwards they ended up calling it off. They didn't get hit with any tsunami. However, the 7.5 was still good. Still went down. Let's close out with this. We've been rocking for a while. China's emotional robot goes rogue. Have y'all seen this? Robot goes crazy all of a sudden. So here we go. Assault and battery. Haunting moment. Robot attacks handlers in an angry rampage as it tries to break free from restraints in a dystopian scene. Take it for what it's worth. They're saying that this particular robot, robot, they were testing to see if it would have emotional responses. And I think they supposedly programmed what they would say would be anger. And the damn thing went wild and started chasing down one of his, not chasing, but aiming his aggression towards one of his handlers. And the little mobile had to get up and run around and hide from him. But look at this.
An engineer in China did to program a robot to fight when they're pissed off. The results are terrifying. And although they need some work on their fighting technique, the anger is definitely there.
He's all over the place, but he got that karate chop down, though. Now, real or not, I mean, it looks real to me. Did they program it to do that and they acting like they was being, I don't know. You know, it's a lot of, the internet is something else, man. It's a lot of trickery going on. It's a lot of skits and fake stuff going on. I'd like to believe that, hey, maybe the robot did kind of, go crazy. We always talk about the Terminator scenarios and AI turning on its maker and all that other stuff. Anything's possible, but I thought that was funny / interesting that the robot.
An engineer in China did to program a robot to fight when they're pissed off. The results are terrifying. And although they need some work on their fighting technique, the anger is definitely there. An engineer in China.
Moab, man. Moab is something else, boy. I'm trying to figure who's the runner-up as far as your most despised nation. We know Esau is the crown king. Is it Ishmael? Moab for you? Is it Ham? Is it Elam? Moab he's a strong runner-up. If it ain't maybe Ishmael or Elam, I don't know for me. But think about that, man. You just see them heathens, man. They get what they deserve. I wish one of them would have got chopped upside the head. That'd have been funny, or funnier, I should say. But hey, look, a lot of things that we covered today. A lot of things to consider, meditate on, grow on, build upon, and really consider and know. The times that we in, the times that we need to make sure that we're in alignment with the Most High via commandments, faith in Yahweh Shai, moving in wisdom and knowledge. As we see, things are going to be shifting, changing. We're going to see some things coming down the pipeline that we got to get ready for. We got to get ready for. All right. So with that, it says it's a tie between Moab and Elam. I wouldn't have a problem with that. They both irritating as hell to me. I don't even like Elam's accent when they speak English. If I hear that phone and I'm calling customer service and they talking about, hello, this is Johnny. They're like, you know damn well your name ain't Johnny. Don't lie to me already. I don't like that. But that's what it is. So I'm gonna get on out of here, man. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh. You gotta always remember to fear the Most High, keep the commandments, and always, don't shoot the messenger. With that, I'm gonna say shalom, y'all. It's been a pleasure. Lord willing, it was edifying today, and you got some nuggets and some jewels that you can take, shine up, and make your own. All right. So with that, I'm out of here.